Okay.
Warming up.
Do you want to do the box pose this early?
We can.
Well, there's no one to see it. This is how we make a thumbnail.
It's that one that's super glaring.
Reduce intensity. A bit better.
All right. Maybe we can. Don't have anything that we can have out.
It's just cards, but I think they're
First.
gonna reflect.
Yeah. Okay.
Your logo on the box. Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
One, two.
They just feel so stupid. Thumbnail. Okay. Okay. Now we gotta
We'll be starting in a few
do
minutes.
security.
If you are watching this after the recorded live stream, know that it will take a few minutes before we start as we manually reshare our link to our viewers.
Oh.
Okay, Facebook link is running. YouTube, oops, that's still in Cinnamon. There. YouTube is running as well.
So I still can't seem to tag you on desktop, but on mobile I can. So I don't understand what's going on.
Strange.
Facebook things. Mm-hmm.
Alright, link reshared. Mailing list left.
I'm still catching up in my own promotion efforts. Yeah, hang in there, folks. We'll start very shortly. We're just trying to get people to join the stream. And of course, if you're watching, it helps to leave comments so that we know you're there. Otherwise, we have no idea if you are there. Hey, Mark. We're a little late, sorry, but we're warming up.
That. Okay, we really have to consider setting stuff up with the table further, the stuff with the table further back, just so we have more table space.
Well, because your improvised display table, while pretty, is also more than the width of a laptop because it is a laptop box.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It is a warm Monday.
Yes, it is.
How many songs do we know of that have or talk about Monday? There's Manic Monday,
Okay, and
there's
then
Monday Blues.
okay, and then
What else? You didn't know any other songs on Monday? The Cure had Friday I'm in Love, that doesn't count.
but it mentioned Monday.
There's Isang Linggong Pag-ibig,
Do you
that
require
doesn't
the
count either.
song has Monday in the title
Or Monday is the focus.
as the focus? Okay,
So you guess just those two.
maybe. Mark mentions he has not played this game since Matt Smith and still haven't gotten rid of your copy. In fact, I think that's the main copy
That's the copy we played with.
we've played because you introduced us to the game. So, but We should save that for the episode. So let me just roll credits, and then we'll get things
Yeah, let's
started.
get started.
Oh yeah! Baduy Pride!
Hey everyone, this is Toby.
And it's Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, a little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
It's completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us as we talk about everything and anything random
And
live.
if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. Today, Monday Game Day, we are talking about a card game which we own, but we've never played with the copy we own.
So much so when I was checking, like I wanted to review the rules, we hadn't even punched the tokens out.
And sadly it's a bit dusty and all, but it's Doctor Who the card game.
But why are we talking about Doctor Who, the card game, Toby?
I'm happy you asked, Rocky. We're talking about Doctor Who the card game today, as well as Doctor Who overall as a series on Friday, because November 23rd is known as, oh my god, I was gonna say Dalek Day, that's wrong. It's known as TARDIS Day, because November 23 was
Now
the
we know where
day.
Toby's loyalties lie.
The, it was the day the first episode was aired, and that would be the Unearthly Child.
Yes, very good. And that's when we had that big 50th anniversary a few years back. Then they did everything. They had the special episode, blah blah blah.
So yeah, so we have Doctor Who the card game, released by
Cubicle 7
yes.
Entertainment. Cubicle 7 is also known for having the license for Doctor Who the RPG.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it makes sense that they also released the card game. And yeah, and admittedly, this is like one of actually very few Doctor Who games we own.
Yeah.
The other one being Doctor Who
Risk,
Risk Dalek Invasion of
which
Earth.
we haven't opened yet either. Not
I
that we plan to resell.
I've opened
Sorry,
because
we
I
haven't
just
played.
wanted
We
to
haven't
look at the
played.
Daleks.
Yeah, we wanted to have a collection of Daleks,
Yeah, we only bought it just so that I could have Daleks.
and then we don't really enjoy Risk.
So we're gonna talk about this game instead.
Doctor Who the card game is designed by Martin Wallace. It plays from 2 to 4 players, and while it doesn't have the best score in Board Game Geek, it does have a number of expansions, which is quite a surprise for a game with a low score.
It also has reissues because of the wibbly wobbly nature of the
Mhm.
Doctor himself and how there are different incarnations. So like this one, our version has the 12th Doctor in it,
Yes,
which like is
but
surprising.
but
But
there is a version of the game for the classic Doctor. There is a version of the game for the 13th Doctor as well.
I didn't know there was a 13th. Oh my god,
Yes.
they're still keeping this alive.
Exactly, which is why it's a bit of a shock to realize that this game is alive in that way despite having quite a low score.
Well, that's the license for you. And just like the series in itself, that no matter the ratings, it's still there. No. Okay, so officially the game though, when you start reading the rules, plays for 3 to 4 players
Hmm.
with a two-player variant,
Yeah.
which is funny because I had totally forgotten there's a two-player variant, and then we probably should have been trying to play this a bit more.
Hmm.
But admittedly, it probably works better with three and four because of the main mechanic of the game.
The game has you using different systems such as area, majority, hand management, card drafting, secret unit deployment, and take that abilities as you try to conquer different locations to earn points and win the game.
So, in terms of like what is the implied narrative conceit of the game, it's not clear
Mhm.
because everybody puts down location cards, everybody tries to attack everyone
Mhm.
else, and your attacking cards are always like Doctor Who bad guys, and your defending cards tend to be Doctor Who friends and allies,
Mhm.
or incarnations of the Doctor. So I don't quite know who we are, but we're always attacking each other and always defending.
I would have thought we were the doctor, different numbers, but we play doctor cards. So I guess we're not.
And we attack with like Vashnarada and all
Let's
these
let's
things.
look inside and see what the game contains.
After I cleaned up the box.
So it
Okay.
comes with the manuals.
Okay, correction. It is a manual and a player aid, but the player aid is just a loose page of the manual. It is not a card, so not the smartest
You
choice.
have a small bag of tokens which are used to,
They're time tokens.
yes. Time tokens are what you spend, or sorry, earn as victory points.
No, you spend them to
Spend,
buy
yeah.
cards, but you earn
Um,
them also.
you have different player colored tokens that represent who has control over certain areas.
They are TARDISes
Yeah.
and Daleks. Hi,
So
Mitch.
there's basically four colors: yellow, blue, red, and white.
No
And
green.
then you have the cards. Cards come in two types. You have locations, which
Well, more than two types.
yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, they're the starter locations, but generally there are locations in the game that match featured locations
hmm
throughout the show.
Notice the small dots in the corner, which represent the point value of these locations.
Yeah, then later on there's like other locations that are not the starters.
And then you
Um,
have the character cards, which come in two types.
Attackers and defenders.
Yeah, the guardians. I think they were the official term was the guardians. I could be wrong. Defenders. The defenders are the characters which we know to be from the show. Everything from the Doctor to other allies such as River Song. I was about to say River Phoenix for some reason.
Not to be confused with support guards, which do other things.
hmm
So the attacking and defending cards are pretty straightforward in the sense that they have a number, which is sort of their power value, and then your goal is trying to uh, go beyond the values of the other player. The
hmm
problem is everybody puts down the location at the beginning of the game, and then you can then assign an attacker to a location, but you assign it face down.
hmm
There's no cost to play the attacker, you just play the attacking card. And then the same way, you could also play a defending card to your location so that they don't get attacked, or at least you can fight off those who will attack it. They
hmm
are also played face down. So in the beginning, you don't know how strong each other is. So it's kind of a trump
Yeah.
bluffing type game thing. And then when locations do have at least one attacker and one defender, there'll be a conflict. So at the end of the round, you're going to resolve. We reveal the cards, see who's stronger, and figure out if the territory will be defeated
hmm
or will be taken over by the attacker or defended successfully.
If the attacker is stronger than the defender is removed from the game, or from the board, from the location. And the
And you get to put
location,
the little Dalek.
yeah, is given that token. If the defender is stronger, both are removed because the defender is exhausted as well from the effort. Which means you shouldn't be afraid about losing your defenders.
Oh, except for Rory, he always comes back.
Yes.
It's such a weird conceit that like, hey, did you remember that one season? Okay, so there you go.
Now, given the way the system works, there is an element that feels like time travel, and that is where the card drafting comes in.
So it's funny. So everybody will generally have two cards in hand, except
Mhm.
for the active player who'll have five. Then you're allowed to play as many cards as you want that you can legally play, but you must have three cards left in your hand
Mhm.
because those three cards are passed to the next player,
To the
and
player on your right.
yeah, and then it that continues the draft.
Now, note that it's passing to the player to the right, but given most games do function in a clockwise method, it's like you're moving them through time and you know you will see them again soon.
Yeah, you're moving back. So like it's that weird um with this, it's like those tile puzzles where you move them around and one there's an empty space at the beginning. So that empty space represents the player who just finished his turn. So you keep moving it, and everybody else has sufficient cards uh, to determine their turn. There are other little actions that you can do. You can reserve a card. Um, there's a weird currency element where playing locations gives you something called time points,
hmm
and you can spend 5 time points to draw an additional card from the deck.
hmm
And as long as at the end you must pass 3 cards back in time.
hmm
Mark mentions the weird card drafting components I thought really fit the theme well, and I totally agree. And it's also why we got a copy of the game. The drafting mechanic makes it a lot harder to like figure out how things are gonna go because you have some awareness of cards, but you're not gonna see it until like 3 turns later,
Hmm.
and anything can happen in the course of those interactions. So, it's tricky. It's quite tricky.
Now the game does have a definite end. There is a specific card that's meant to be at the bottom of the deck, which is the end of the game.
Yeah, which is represented by that. Now it's represented by that giant TARDIS thing from that
Tre-
episode.
tre- tres- tre-
Tren, but, but he,
Trenzador, Trenzador. I don't remember its name. Treznador. I
it's so cute. It sounds like Toby's reciting medicine.
Tramadol.
And Mark saved you. Trenzalore. You were close.
Trenzalor. See. I really have trouble with names. So yeah. Some of the games do try to have some mechanics that attempt to capture the idea behind the character. So, like as mentioned, Rory always comes back. Um, Others, however, are not as interesting. The Weeping Angels just give you a time point. Um, the Pandorica can be combined with any other enemies and automatically defeats the Doctor, but it's automatically neutralized by Rory. Because that is the other aspect about this game. When you do put enemies into a location, you have to put the same type. You can't like put Daleks and then Weeping Angels in that same location. You have to place the same type of enemy present.
Yeah. Except you have, you'll and there are all these little exceptions. So they definitely went for these interesting like full photo cards, but um you result in occasional card text that's very tiny
Hmm.
about what else they do. So hence that weeping angel mention of like time point. It's this small line of text that you may or may not remember. Um, so that makes it like a little tricky, and then it's a little inconsistent because some cards just don't do anything. I mean, like it has a attack value, but that's about it. Um, and depending on the edition you have of the game, then there was an effort to like sample across the spread of time. So we originally played Mark's original copy, which was a Matt Smith era one. This one already has the 12th, so it has a few more enemies updated to match that
Hmm.
period. And then there's a newer version for the 13th, and there's actually a different version for the 12th, like a
Hmm.
that completely changed the layout. So it gets a little timey wimey in that
Admittedly,
regard.
I think a large reason why we were happy with this edition was this touches on the episodes we enjoyed.
That's true.
Um, Not all of them, of course, but compared to like getting the 13th only, I think we're
Yeah,
very happy with this edition more.
because Clara's here and Toby still tolerates her.
Yeah, that no, but this one has River Song and the ponds and the empty child and the weeping angels before they were like everywhere. I don't understand. For something to me, the silent assassins of the universe. Sobrang gasgas ko na how they're being used in all the
We should
episodes.
save that for Friday.
Um, Mark mentions the Jammy Dodger item. I was trying to find it. I can't seem to find it.
Matt Smith pond. Yes, I do love the ponds. I wonder if I can find it. Let me see. Um,
That item.
yeah, it really depends on the what's here, just so that we can bring it up. Because this one has the Kraken time. Uh, Take it as you will.
Mm,
Nope, I'm like through a lot of this, but I had things like the Medusa Cascade.
I have Torchwood,
I'm just pulling out cards. Okay.
Dalek Flagship, Torchwood.
Auto win here as he remembers it. Oh, yeah, I'm not seeing it. Um,
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about pros and cons.
nope, I found it. Defeat one enemy against one of your locations. There you go.
It's an auto win on a location.
Yay! It's like Jack, which is funny because he's more known for not dying, but then he
Mhm.
defeats an enemy. Okay. Oh, but
So
oh,
pros for
multi-tasking.
me,
Yay.
I love the fact that they did use the photos. It's very nice to see the familiar images.
And we have
Um,
encountered quite a few licensed games that did not do great art because they didn't went go with photos.
we're talking about you, Firefly Legendary.
Legendary Encounters Firefly. We already dissed you in another episode. We're gonna bring it up again. Okay. Um.
So definitely happy to see photos and find yourself going, oh yeah, I remember that episode. Oh yeah, I remember that episode, and it tore my heart
Cry.
and made me regret ever thinking about artwork. But yes, it's a powerful episode. So yeah, the use of photos is amazing, but I do feel the cards feel very empty.
Yeah, I mean, like, because it's just the images and and a small number in the corner, maybe. And given the game has already gone through multiple editions,
Mhm.
there has been no attempt at innovating this system. I know at its core, they're trying to keep it as simple as possible so that it's a mass market product
Mhm.
and can be played by many people possible. But there are times it almost feels like a deck of playing cards with Doctor Who imagery.
Yes.
So and that still might be more interesting
Mhm.
for what it is. Um, the game itself is okay. Area control-y things are never quite my favorite, and the attack defense back and forth is really tricky
Yeah.
because what's this? Once you have successfully defended location, you get to put a TARDIS token. But if someone attacks it again, they bump off the token, so the next time they attack, they can try to claim it. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of that back and forth. And one of the end game triggers is when one player has exhausted either all their TARDISes or all their
Yeah.
Daleks. So it can get kind of tricky, and you'll have sort of those munchkin dogpile moments where someone has four of something out. Then you know that everybody's going to gang up somehow
Mhm.
to balance that out.
Mark shares personal pet peeve was the initial confusion from location cards, whether these were time tokens or victory points. I agree. The symbology could have been much better. We could have had a better sense of graphic design as to, this looks like a cost, and this looks like a victory point thing, or this looks like a system. Um, it just feels like there could have been more thought behind the design, behind the choice of why certain things are written a certain way. Um, it even irks me that they did try to color code things wherein enemies have yellow, support cards have orange, locations are white, and then you have the end of game card which is red. But since you only see the end of game card at the end, shouldn't have the enemy cards been red instead? Because that kind of tells you, the bad
Bad.
cards, and then the end of game card maybe that could have been yellow with black, so it's sort of like a warning, a hazard, a stop. It's the end. So
Yeah, because it's seeded suburbia style with 20
yeah,
cards under it, so it's like the end, but not quite the end. So,
and
um, and then I think my main frustration for the game is the time token element. So there's that locations can give you time tokens, but then what can you do with time tokens? The main thing you do with time tokens is buy more cards,
mhm.
but that's it. There was no other main like activation ability, and then it doesn't even translate into victory points. So they're just this currency that exists to buy more cards so
Hmm.
that your hand will be temporarily bigger one
It
turn.
kind of makes you wish you could have used time tokens to boost the values of your guardian,
Yeah.
or maybe it allows you to bribe other people to help you. I was looking for something like that in the sense of, um, like if a place was being attacked by Daleks, maybe I could have like, okay, Rocky, I'll give you three time tokens. Can you move your guardian here instead? So it sort of has that feeling in the show where people gather together to fight off the enemy and stuff. So I was kind of missing some element like that. And the area control mechanic of having stronger units take over a place, I feel like thanks to games like Smash Up, we
Mm.
kind of have a feel on how it can be done really well.
Yeah, yeah.
And so this game kind of suffered because you can't help but compare, oh, look, their locations, and people can play to try to take over. So they I wish they came up with some additional mechanic to make it more interesting. For example, maybe the locations are a tableau. Maybe rather than them being things players play at the start of the game, everyone plays the 9 locations and it forms a 3 by 3 grid. And now it's like the city.
Yeah, I
It could have had something like
I
that.
don't know why the locations had to be mixed into the player cards.
Yes, it
So
could
then
have
it became
focused.
this weird like, and then again we might be viewing it with a smash up lens because
Mm.
locations were separate and then players just interacted with the
But
locations.
imagine if the locations were more like something in Istanbul,
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
now, oh, I want
Actions.
to play in Torchwood because that allows me to grab a support card, or
Mm.
oh, I'll play in the World of Wonders area because that allows me to move one of the human guardians to my side. Something like that. It could
Whew.
have been more interesting.
Mark cites one more criticism. What exactly is the benefit of playing a location? Because once he had a game where someone never played the location and won. And yes, because location creates targets and then it's
Mm.
things for people to attack. And you won't really win it until you like maintain control of it.
And it's
So
not as if it's yours the moment you play it.
yeah,
You still
yeah.
have to win it. So if you think about it, locations are the worst card to play. And when they realized in playtesting how useless they were, oh, let's give it time tokens. So if you play a location, maybe you get a card for free. But all you're really trying to do is compensate for the fact you wasted your turn.
Yeah. Yeah, and then locations don't do anything else. More often than not, it's just, hey, it's a place with tokens and points. Yay. Yeah. So this game obviously doesn't get a lot of play from us, and then especially because the rules typically recommend three. I swear it's only earlier today I realized, oh my god, it has a two-player variant, and the two-player variant is not even that creative. It just instead of instead of drawing, playing out cards until you have three left, you play until you have two left, and that's it.
And,
And
and,
I don't know if that's gonna
and I
balance.
think it's a cost, right? The draw card is cheaper. No,
No, walang change. So
it's still
drawing a
5.
card is still five time points. So yeah.
And then lastly, given this is Doctor Who, the opportunity to make it more meaningful was completely missed out. Imagine if we all start with a doctor. You know, you start the game, you get all the doctors available, you distribute one specific doctor to each player,
Hmm.
and that player starts with those number of doctors out. Only because it represents, that's you can act. It could have been something like that. It could have had more meaning. Um, it could have been everyone starts with a specific doctor, and later in the game, whenever that doctor is played, it counts as your move. Just so that there's that feel of, oh, I'm meddling with your timeline or something like that.
Perhaps the real travesty is the fact that someone as awesome as River Song is a two, which is like Donna Noble. She's also a two, but Clara's a three.
We hate Clara.
Why is she three?
We really hate Clara.
Okay.
Well,
Um.
I do. I don't know
Yeah.
about Rocky, but
Uh.
Clara is, you know.
At least Amy. They use dramatic photo Amy, for this.
Okay. Any last thing about the game?
It's still cute. And then the card quality is like okay for like a franchise game. I mean, I say this with as much love as I can generate, but you know how it is. I'm just really surprised because Martin Wallace, although depending on like what team he's in, has worked on some very interesting games. From a franchise side, he's also responsible for things like Witches, the Discworld game,
Hmm.
which was okay. Again, it was like not the most elegant game, but it was cute. But he's on the creative team that put together
Yes.
Brass Lancashire and Brass Birmingham, which is like become major it games in
Yes.
their re-releases.
And one of our favorite games, PI.
Yes. Another one, which is like such a great spin on a deductive game
If you
that is
think,
replayable.
yeah, if you think about it, PI could have been a Doctor Who game.
That's true. Why don't we just reskin the game?
Rather than murder weapon location and it could have been time mystery, who's behind it, where, and with what gadget.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
now could have been, oh, I got it. It's the master working in the Torchwood. Yeah, that could have been that good.
Yeah, so he's done a lot. And then he also worked on Amp Mark Park. My gosh. Okay.
Mm.
So it's just a little surprising. It's not a bad game. I think it's my our the fact that we say so much about it is because Doctor Who is such a beloved franchise
Yes.
that it deserves like a super awesome tabletop game. And admittedly, There, I've yet to encounter a Doctor Who tabletop game other than the RPG that really made me go, "Wow, this is Doctor Who."
That's true.
This is still one of the better Doctor Who experiences we've had in tabletop, but the rest are like few and far between. I mean, what else is there? Actually, is a good question.
Mm.
If you do a quick board games geek search, and there are a lot of things that come out.
Yeah, Time
Um,
Clash is one of the new ones that came
oh
out.
yeah, that weird like battling
Hmm.
game. Um, what's this 2001 one? Miniature game again. Yeah, it's mostly going into miniature games. Flux, of course, was like fun. Um, and then like some Dalek stuff. So like yeah, we have Dalek Risk Invasion of Earth,
Hmm.
and things like that. And then of course the obligatory Monopoly
There's the
version.
Dalek dice, which is like zombie dice using Daleks instead.
Yeah, I mean there are a lot of games, but then it's always like just okay. And then I don't know why we can't seem to get a really awesome one. Or I guess it's a question of who's been holding on to the license and what kind of games come out of them. And
Yeah.
Cubicle 7 is probably better known for their RPG products. Um,
I do wish that there would be an attempt to create a more Euro Doctor Who experience.
yes.
So it could be a map featuring the universe. You're jumping around different locations to try to gather resources. Maybe the resources are the companions, which makes it funny. I'll run here to grab a Rory, and then I'll or something like that. But I kind of want to see a Doctor Who game that's meatier. Um, I don't expect it to be anytime soon because I could just imagine how much hell that is to get approvals for.
Yes.
Franchise
Especially mid Doctor. I mean, we're at the brink of a
and
Doctor
and with
transition.
franchise games, you'll probably be selling the idea to people who don't really do games.
Yes.
So you'll have to explain something that's simple enough for in. Oh, it's like it's like gin, or it's like Monopoly, or it's like. Because the moment you start saying, "Oh, it's like Caverna," they'll just stare at you and go, "What?"
Moo.
Yes.
Um. Yeah. So, but other pros about this though is that it is a fairly compact card game. The box is ridiculously big because it's a standard like you can see it on the shelf kind of box.
Mm.
But you can bring this around in like a pouch. If you wanted a decent like card game on the go, then this is it. I think. I mean, especially for Doctor Who fans, it's something you can bring to a convention or to an event, assuming live events resume. That sort of a thing. So it's quaint in that regard, and I appreciate games that travel well. What else?
I think that's it for me. I kind of pretty much shared all my thoughts on this game.
Yeah, so I'm gonna yawn. And then we do have another episode on Friday where we're going to talk about the franchise as a greater whole.
We'll talk about all the seasons we can. We probably won't touch much on the movies.
But I do kind of want to watch some of those hokey Dalek movies. Okay, I do want to watch some of the Dalek movies.
We will have to, of course, mention the shorts, the web shorts.
Oh, and the wonderful world of Doctor Who audio experiences.
Yes, and we'll sneak in some talk about the role playing game there as well.
But we didn't say that because it's sneaky. Ooh, ooh.
All right, I think that's pretty much it. Double checking if there are any other comments, but I'm thinking that's all the time we have for now. Yeah, do we wrap up?
I guess you're right. I was double how many versions? Yeah, we have the second edition English, and then there
Yeah,
was the first edition with the yellow trim, and then they made a 12th Doctor expansion one.
yeah.
What is in a 12th Doctor expansion run?
But there was a
Oh,
classic Doctor one as well, right? Or was that a different game I saw?
or is it a re-implementation?
I saw earlier a classic Doctor card game.
Wow, it was re-implemented by a game called Elector Counts, which is coming out next year. How surprising! They really like this system. I haven't seen the classic.
Oh no, did I miss see that? Or was that an alternate reality thing?
Let me see.
Can you see if there's a Doctor Who card game classic? I remember seeing it earlier.
12 Doctors Doctor Who card game? Doctor Who the Card Game Classic Doctor Edition.
Right?
Yeah,
What
it's
is
Cubicle
it?
7. It's not linked to the game.
Yeah, but that's it, right? That is an expansion. Expansion.
It's
It's
a
yeah,
standalone.
of the classic Doctors. So yeah,
Ah.
I wasn't wrong. Haha! The broken link, board game geek.
And it can be combined. But yeah, it's strange that they didn't link it as being associated. But it uses the same token set as the English second edition.
Is it also by the same company?
Yes, and the same
We can report it so they can link
designer.
it.
I would want this only for K9. It covers Doctors 1 to 8 for those who are
Although we do
curious.
have Kanan here.
But it's like classic K9.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a difference. All right. That's our episode.
That's our
Yes.
episode. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We had a lot of fun and we hope you'll join us again next time.
Click for questions or suggestions for future episodes. You can fill up the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. This week we're still like chose the topics because of the fact the Doctor Who anniversary is this week, but it doesn't mean we're not gonna get back to the queue. We appreciate your suggestions. You can follow us on Twitter, Altobi No Shade, RG Suniko.
You can also check out our blog, badaypray.com, for the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below and let us know what did you think about the game. Have you played an incarnation of this game? Do you have the classic edition that we almost did not believe existed? Let us know. And be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this
This
is
is
Baduy
Baduy
Pride.
Pride.
Good night, everyone.
Blink and you're dead.